Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Um, Welcome to Introduction to Software Engineering. Now, are we live? Okay. And can I get the online people so I can see their comments, if any? Now, we're going to chew this course by God grace as fast as we can. Can you remember my name? Okay. It's written there, down there. By it is well. Now, online people, welcome. Hmm? Really? How? MySQL is hard? Huh. The easiest way you can be able to know a foreign key and primary key is using two countries. The president of one country is the primary key in his country. When he travels out of his country, he becomes what? A foreign key. He's the primary key in another man's land. That's just it. It's as simple as that, really. I don't know if that is complex too. All right, online people, well done. No? I hope you can hear me clearly. Online people, I hope you can hear me clearly. Okay, for this class, we're going to discuss on so many things, like what is even software engineering to begin with, and what constitutes a software product. Why software engineering? What are the characteristics of a good software engineer? Importance of software engineering. And then we'll talk a bit of software engineering versus computer science. Then employment and roles of software engineers. The software engineers' job opportunities. Self-skill tests. And then safety and tanks. Okay, I remember why I had safety and tanks. I wrote this note during the coronavirus pandemic-ish. And I believe that's the reason why I wrote safety and tanks. Safety and tanks means wash your hands regularly and don't touch your face. Now, definition. When you hear software engineer, what comes to your mind? Hmm? Anyone? When you hear the word software engineering, or when you hear the phrase software engineering, what comes to your mind? Writing code. What else? Applying engineering principles to software development. A technique to design and develop. Um, those are good definitions. Now, there are many definitions of software engineering. The basic definition of software engineering is defined as a systematic approach to development, operation, maintenance, and retirement of a software. When you have multiple software, how do you reference them? When you have multiple software, how do you reference them? Hmm? Collection of softwares. It's still software. Hmm. The term software engineering is a product of two words, software and engineering. The software is a collection of integrated programs, software subsets of carefully organized instructions and code written by developers on any of the various computer languages. Computer program and related documents such as requirements, design, models, and user manual. Another definition of software engineering is, another definition of engineering is the application of scientific and practical knowledge to invent, design, build, maintain, and improve frameworks and processes. A more precise definition of software engineering is an engineering branch related to the evolution of what? Hmm? Using what? And what? The result of software engineering is what? Effective and reliable what? Now we're talking. Therefore, to achieve an effective and reliable software, there are steps and procedures to follow. These steps are what constitute what? So now what is software products? Hmm? One thing I want you to understand is software engineering is not about, it's not just about writing code. In Nigeria, when you hear software engineering, you think about a programmer. No, we are two different things. A programmer is one small part of software engineering. Because what constitutes a software engineer, a software product, will tell you the items that makes up software engineering or software products. And if you look at coding alone, it's a subset of, is a small part of those items. I think that is the next item we're going to. Online people, I'm only seeing 15. Kiniko, what's in the happen? Have you never finished the pray for us? All right. To achieve a reliable and effective software product, the software have to follow rigorous development stages. How many of you have made Akara before? Akara? Yeah. How many of you have made Akara before? What is the process like? Ah, you guys never even start with that. You plant it first. We're talking about the product line. We're talking about the product line. Madam, you have the land? Ah. Do you have the land? Obviously, software engineering doesn't start from buying laptop. It doesn't even start with a laptop. That is why I bring you guys back to the genesis. Abi? We're talking about rigorous. We're talking about rigorous development stages. Now, looking at this picture, which one is the first? The first. Hmm? Why? Which one is the first? What is the requirement? Really? The first stage is getting the requirements. See, it's written here. It's written already. Unless if you are, I should borrow my glasses. Please come back to the box before you go and fall. And I know. The first stage is requirements. What is requirements? What is needed? Now, you can be a requirement engineer. That is it. That is it. You're a requirement engineer. In a software firm, your job or your sole responsibility is to be a requirement engineer. That is it. It's a field on its own. Then comes analysis. What is analysis? We'll talk about it in the future. It's a field on its own, too. That is why I said, even anybody that studies software engineering, unless if the person, even if the person don't go to class, he will still have something to do in software engineering. Even if you don't go to class, you will still have something you will do to it. Just that we don't practice it proper in Nigeria. So you have what? Requirement engineers. Have you ever heard of a position called system analyst? System analyst. That is system analyst. You are seeing there now. Software design is a field on its own too. I am a software designer. And please don't confuse UI designer and software designer. Two different things. Okay? Software designer is different from what? User interface designer. So don't confuse the two. The same way you confuse data and internet in Nigeria. Please don't do that. Okay? There are two different things. Okay? Then, after design is what? Testing. That is a field on its own. And you can earn money as a what? Software tester. You and screwdriver the test for life. The ladies do not understand the joke. After testing is what? Deployment. Deployment comes with a lot of things. And it's a very, very huge environment on its own. That is why I said, even if you don't go to class, you still find some way to hang in if you're a software, if you study software engineering. Even if you don't get certificates, you still have somewhere to go and eat food. After deployment is what? Maintenance. And what is maintenance? So after that is what? Hmm? Updates. Updates. Now, I find it weird, absolutely weird, when I see somebody of this generation having a phone and the phone is telling you update and you're telling it my data. Seriously. And then before you know what's going on, you see the person's account. Please send me 10,000 naira. I'm in a bus and the bus is not driving well. I want to enter another bus. The next thing, another person will send 10,000. Hey, na fraudster. How did the fraudster get into your WhatsApp? You don't update. You don't update. We'll talk about that. That is why I said I find it weird when people of my generation and forward, my parents' generation, I understand. They still call WhatsApp WhatsApp. I understand. But my generation, you see an update and you ignore it. It's like you have a house, and then out of nowhere you see one hole, and you say, this hole self, I just leave it now hole. And then before you know what's going on, one rat entered through that hole. Say, it's just rat now, no problem. Next thing before that, and a snake. Yes. And then you say, hey, they don't steal my money, they don't hack my WhatsApp. Why you no update them? We'll talk about that in the future. So if you look at all these components, they are fields on their own. And you can venture into any of these particular fields. You can base your career as a software designer. You can base your career as a software deployment expert. You do continuous development, continuous integration, CDCI, CI/CD. Which of them? CI/CD is a field on its own. DevOps, like I said, it's a field on its own. How much are they paying DevOps engineers now? Eh? $60 per hour. Oh, $60,000. Online people, someone is saying that this looks like software development life cycle. Yes, it is. But then, if you remember, we said what? It follows rigorous development stages. Okay? Rigorous development stages. Now, each and every one of this stage is supposed to have people that are working in that particular stage. Now, it's only Nigeria. Well, let me not say only Nigeria. I haven't done the research. But most times in Nigeria, you see that the developer is the tester, he's the requirement engineer, he's the system analyst, he is the designer, he did the coding, and he's doing the maintenance. That is the worst case scenario. Do you want to know why it's the worst case scenario? Have you ever written a letter and you give it to somebody and, and the person tell you this spelling is wrong, but when you're writing it, you didn't see that mistake? So imagine you write the letter and then you submit it to your boss, and your boss is reporting directly to the minister. And then you submit to the minister, and there's a problem with spelling. And then it reaches to the table of the president, and the president called the minister and say, Mr. Minister, you know how this spell? You know how embarrassing that will be? So it's always important to what? Segregate functionalities of people. Assuming the president is the speaker and the president of the Senate at the same time, do you think Nigeria will work? It will be too much for the person. And that is the problem we have. That is why you see a software developed by a Nigerian, but the problem is the maintenance part of it because he's onto another project while this one needs maintenance. He's doing analysis of one project, he's doing design of another, he's doing, and then before you know what's going on, before you know what's going on, he's not going to do the training. Because after deployment, you need to train the people that are going to use the software. You don't understand. Why software engineering? Why? The necessity of software engineering appears because of a high rate in user requirements and the environment on which the program is what? Working. Now, huge programming, adaptability, cost, dynamic nature, quality management. This is under software testing. Quality management and quality assurance. And then one person wants to do it. Best of luck. So someone is asking online so somebody online is asking, at what stage does documentation comes in? At the very beginning of the project, because there is a document called requirement documents. If I remember very well, that is what pursued one Arabian guy. It chased one Arabian guy out of my class when I was in university. We had a lecturer, Ms. Siti Fazila Shamsuddin. When she came to the class, she said, "Do you know what is SRS? DFD? UML?" If you don't know, you know, be a good software engineer. The Arabian guy just left the class and went and changed to business course. So he realized that none of these things she's mentioned, he knows. He knows many of them. So what is this thing doing in software engineering? He just went and did business IT. Okay? So documentation starts in fact, that is the first thing that comes into play, documentation. Because if you don't document the requirements, how do you know what are the functional requirements of your software? How do you know what are non-functional requirements? How do you know the features? How do you even itemize the item? Because if you understand one thing about software engineering is a software is not developed in one day. You can't develop a software in one day. Unless if it's a to-do list. That you can do in 3 hours if you want. Mm. Mm.
Didn't get to play ball until we got to 18 and got to the and I discovered that his age was mounting. So he decided to go scout partners, develop the software with his friend. And eventually cracked by 23. And now what it does is it collects videos of scholars, young talents, analyzes it,
And propose to companies.
so now it's selling talents to foreign clubs and selling them over like that. So that's why it's making his money from internet when people browse to check for talents, selling talents directly.
So now you get to realize that a software, if you're going to pay, it costs a lot. That is why it's one of the highest paying jobs in the world. Software engineering. Depending on which part of software engineering you are doing. Don't go and quote me that Messiah said software engineering is one of the highest paid jobs, and you're doing UI testing. Mahanudi. That is the beauty of software engineering. You can actually learn this thing online. Most of the things I learn, I never learn them in classroom. I just cancel my nights and go through a video. And please, if you're watching a video to learn programming or to learn software development, please don't go for those videos that last 3 hours. In fact, any video that is above 10 minutes, don't go for it. I'm telling you for a fact. Trust me, anything you want to learn is there and you can learn it in 10 minutes. Let me tell you the reason why I said not more than 10 minutes. By the time you watch, some people, they can focus on something for 10, 15 minutes. After that, anything you tell them, they pass their head. And then you go and carry 3 hours. By the time you watch 30 minutes straight, somebody will shout, the person inside Agbalimo don't come. And that is it. You and Agbalimo don't go keep software for one side. I watch videos to learn things, but if it's above 10 minutes, count me out. Yes. Even if you're starting, just watch 10 minutes video. Let me explain to you how I learn. Whatever I want to learn, whichever program language I want to learn, I go on YouTube and then I search to-do lists. CURD. And then I look at what they are doing. Once I see, I replicate. If I replicate, I try to do it on my own. If I'm able to do it on my own, that is it. Tomorrow I know where I can find that thing that I'm looking for. If I'm looking for a problem that, okay, so I want to be able to look through an array of characters or array of objects, I go on Google and search, look through array of objects. The first Stack Overflow I see, I open it. And then I scan through. The one that has check on it is the answer. So I look at that one, and then I go through it. There are many materials you can use online. That is just the beauty of software engineering, especially the development part of software engineering. So let's move on. Someone is saying the view is blurry. Please fix. Sorry, I think that has to do with the network speed. This I cannot do anything about. Okay. All right, let's move on. Somebody is asking, you search for what on YouTube? Whatever you're looking for, you search on YouTube. Let it not be more than 10 minutes. That way, you know at the back of your mind that this video is not going to be above 10 minutes. So you can be able to focus fully. Even if there are children that are crying, you can ignore the cry for just 10 minutes so that you can comprehend everything. And then you can come back and watch. But those 3 hours video, you are trying to remember what he said an hour ago. And you're trying to know what he's going to say in the next 1 hour. My brother, which kind of brain you get? Yes. And don't do 10 minutes at a stretch. What you're looking for, search for it. That particular item, search for it, and then, okay? All right. Characteristics of what? X6 of what? What is X6? Things are only you go to secondary school. Okay? Oh, somebody just put X. I see Twitter. The features that good software engineers should possess are as follows. Exposure to what? That is what? Mhm. Good technical of what? Good technical knowledge of what? Now, now let me give you a simple example of this particular point. Imagine you want to develop a software for accounting firm, and you're not an accountant. How do you develop that software? Well, you can do that if you want to, but you can have an accountant as part of your team. That way, they can guide you on things that you are not aware of. Okay, so you need to know what you need to have a domain knowledge of that particular area because if you are developing an application for a church and you go and put Christian this thing and a star on top of it, pastor will look at you and say, hey, "This guy, this is software." Abi, Abi, you are doing a software for mosque, and then you put cross as the software loads, it loads to the cross. The man will call you and say, chairman, this is your software. That's now Pastor Chiku did give you the project. So that is it. Now, a good software engineer should be good in what? Programming. Programming. Why? Why do you need to be good in programming? You're not to write code. Not really. You need to know how the software works, but then you can know how the software works as an end user. But you need to know programming. Why? Why is it important for you to know programming? Hmm? That is the job of a software tester. To be able to read codes. Nah. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you are developing a banking software and you are the line manager of those responsible for development of the app. They develop the codes and then they pass the code to you so that you can review and pass it to those that are going to compile and deploy and test and do the rest. Now, if you don't know how to read codes, we're not good at programming. Is it possible for one of the programmers to be shifting some money into his own account? Hmm? It doesn't have to be tens of thousands of naira. No, it can be two kobos. For each transaction, two kobo. For each transaction, two kobo. Imagine the person is developing this app for maybe Zenith Bank and GT and Echo. What do you think will happen? How many transactions do we have in a day in those three banks? Let's say 1 million transactions. 1 million times two kobo. Hmm? It's not Yahoo Yahoo. So you need to be able to read the code to understand. You need to be able to. What if a situation whereby you are supposed to deliver a project and the programmer disappear? Hmm? Yes, you have to. You have to because nobody's going. Let me explain to you how it works. Nobody's going to ask the programmer why didn't you deliver. They're coming to you. You are the person responsible for them to do the job, and you did not do your own job, so you have to do it. I have had that experience here when I was working in this project that is supposed to be delivered is not delivered. Before my boss asked, I'll type it out. I'm not a programmer. I'm a software engineer. But I'll code it. Hayat, that accessor is here already. It's done. A 360 job, I told this other guy that, look, guy, if you cannot do it, I will be doing it to buy my food every day. I cannot be working and be collecting salary. Okay? What else? Good communication skills. If you just stammer, hire somebody to be a what? Hire somebody that knows how to speak very well. Like me now that I talk fast, I'm not a good person to be a software engineer. Because by the time I speak and pass everybody, sometimes even my dad don't understand what I'm saying. Back then, I had to start learning how to cool down. With age, you start to learn how to cool down when you speak. Otherwise, before I'm done. As far as I'm concerned, you have to understand what I said. So he has to be what? Good. He has to have good communication skills. These skills comprise of what? Oral, written, and what? Interpersonal skills. Yes? Okay, what's the difference between programmers and software engineers? Now, let me give you a simple example so that you understand. When you are sick, you go where? Where do you go to? Hospital, right? When you go to the hospital, what happens? The doctor examines you, right? And then he gives you what? Prescription, right? And then you go to the pharmacy to what? Buy medication. Now, we have bastardized that system in Nigeria to a stage whereby when you are sick, where do you go to now? Pharmacy. And then the pharmacist will tell you, I think you should get chloroquine, right? And you buy chloroquine, and the pharmacist will inject you with it. Is that the right way? No. Now, let me tell you a short story that happens to my grandfather. He was sick, and they called the pharmacist in the village. And he injected him with medication that led, well, let me not say led to his death practically, but that is the genesis of how it all went haywire. And then when my mom is a nurse, when she asked what was injected, and then she told him, she said, why would you inject him with that medication? But even horses don't inject them with that kind of medication at that quantity. Now, back to why, what is the difference between a software engineer and a programmer? Sorry, please, I have to pick this. Hello, in our class. In our class, I'll call you back. Okay, sorry about that. Now, a software engineer is a person that oversees a certain aspect of software development. He doesn't need to oversee everything in software development. No, he can oversee just a part of it. Yeah. His own, maybe part of what I'm saying is you can be responsible for what? Analysis, design, testing, implementation, and so on and so forth. A programmer is someone that codes the software. He's part of the team that develops the software. You can code, yes. You are not a programmer. So look at it this way. Look at it this way. I don't like using this example, but let me use this example for the sake of simplicity. When you go to a site and you see people building a house, there is a civil engineer there, right? Sometimes those civil engineers will take shovel and be mixing cement. Abi? Does that make them masons? No, they are not. But in the event that there is need for a block to be put onto another block, can they do it? They can. If they want, they can. That is why I find my dad to be the worst case software civil engineers, because he will just tell you, "Ah, today we're doing plumbing work. All of us will shortly can be fixing two pipes together. Next morning we say, we're doing mason work. All of us will shortly can will be putting blocks on each other." He's a civil engineer by profession, and these are things he sees on his site, and sometimes he has to intervene. He has to put his own hand to make things move. Okay? A programmer, well, a programmer mostly codes. Sometimes doesn't have to. It doesn't have to code. Okay, let me tell you the reason why you're learning most of these things is because so that you will know. Imagine an engineer doesn't know the cost of bag of cement. An engineer doesn't know the cost of bag of cement. If he is going to give the money to a mason to buy, how much do you think they will charge him? He probably doesn't know the price. If I come now and tell you, this software you want me to develop, let's assume you work in a farm and you want to hire somebody, a third party, to come and develop software for you. And the person come and start telling you something like, this software I'm going to develop, I'm going to code the front end with my SQL. I was watching a series, I screen grabbed it some time ago, and then somebody was saying, let's use SQL to hack their system. I say, how can you SQL to hack their system? I don't know if you understand. So sometimes it's for you to know that, okay, these technologies, this is what they are, this is how they work. In the event, if somebody come in and tell you, I'm going to use SQL to develop front end for you, you know that person doesn't know the skills required to develop the front end. If you don't know, you'll be saying, and that is what we do most of the times. When when our leaders go abroad and they start to tell them, I will use my SQL to do this fancy looking button and the rest, and then they'll open their mouth like, why? Because they don't know. Mm-hmm. Mm. A software engineer doesn't have to be a programmer, but he needs to know programming. That way, if anything goes wrong, he knows where that problem is coming from. Otherwise, you see a problem and you don't even know where to even start solving it. Software engineers should be able to what? Motivate their team. How do you motivate people? Hmm? How do you motivate people? Not really. How do you motivate people? Encourage them. Let me tell you, one of the best, one of the, in one house. So let me give you a simple example. My boss, Dr. Islam, every time when I was working here in Biz, he will be telling me, Hayat, in fact, that is how he taught me how to work. Hayat, it's never about the money. Make impacts. That is the statement always. It's never about the money. Make impacts. That was how I learned to work. When I don't have money, I'll meet him and say, Dr. Islam, sir, I need a project to work on. I need money. He said, no problem. In the evening, he'll call me. I had to come to my house. I will go to his house. He'll give me a job to do, and I'll get some money from him. And then he always tell me, Hayat, it's not about the money. Make impact. Do your work as at when due. And believe me, God will reward you for that. I never took it literally. Believe me, I never took it literally until I went to Casina. I was given a task to manage exams in the university. And I did something that no other director exams did in that university. And immediately did what I do, do what I did, and did what I did. English is my mama language. Is it do or did? Anyone? Immediately I finished, I got an offer here and I had to leave. And I kept getting calls that, hi, you have started doing something beautiful and you are leaving. Why are you want just manage and stay? Like, I told them the person that brought me, the person that taught me how to work is the same person that called me to come and serve. I can't say no. So even after I have returned to Abuja here, I still see calls that, is there any way we can bring you back? Why? Because it was never about the money. It's about what? Impact. What did you do to change that place from how it is to a better version of itself? And then, believe you me, recommendations will follow. Trust me, money is motivation too. But believe you me, recommendation is even a better motivation. When people hear of project and remembers your name, that is the biggest motivation you can get. Because when people start to remember your name, that is when the money will come in what? Don't look at 20,000 naira, 30,000 naira. Look at the millions in front of you. Do the groundwork, then the millions come. Right now, we are doing the groundwork. The millions has not arrived yet, but we are hoping they will. So, motivate your team. Then, the next one is what? Sound knowledge of fundamentals of what? Computer science. Sound knowledge. Because computer science covers both the research aspect of computing and implementation part of the computing. And our mother course is what? The mother course for software engineering is what? Computer science. Before there was software, cyber security, software engineering, software testing, software this, software that, there was what? Computer science. Before then, it was what? Before computer science, what was it? Mathematics. We branch from mathematics, we branch off to computer science, and then we're branching out towards software engineering, and then we're going to branch out to other field of professions. Ability to work in a team, very important. And I now understood the reason why my university always give you group work. My university always gives us group work, and you have to know how to defend it. Now, in Nigeria, due to the volume of students we have in our classrooms, a group assignment given is an assignment given to one person. The ladies will find the first class students and they tell the person, sir, I'm in your group. If the lecturer is a bit like me, I will say, let's do defense. All right, let's continue. Now, even if the lecturer is like me, that will say, okay, come and defend it. They will come and stand in front and they will hide in front of the first class and they will say, go and present. Eh? Now, you have to be a what? A team player. There is no I in a team. The failure of the team is the failure of every other person in that particular team. That is why the team, if you're working in a team, they will treat you, let me not use bad English, but they will treat you, you know what? If you misbehave in a team, they will what? Treat you what? Now, when I talk And then you have to be disciplined and what? Adhere to what? To time. Now, one of the most important things you can do is what? Adhere to time. The reason is simple. If people know that your 9 o'clock is 9 o'clock, it's not 9:15, it's not 8:45, it's not 9:01 or somewhere around 9:01 to 9:30. Your clock doesn't have a continent attached to it. Continent. Madam, you say on this school you go. Now, as a software engineer, you should adhere to what? Time. It is very, very important. If you can't adhere to time, you need to communicate early. You need to communicate when? Early. That is why I always thank God that when I was in Katsina, till I left Katsina, when I tell my students we have class tomorrow by 9, they know that by 8:45 I'm in class. Even if I'm sick, I will still go. Some days I'll come to class and I will tell my students, guys, I'm not feeling too well as such, I cannot shout. Come to the front so we can have a discourse. But I will still go. You must be disciplined to be able to adhere to time. Okay? Software engineering is not like wedding, whereby some will come by 9:30, some will come by 12:30. If your firm is a serious firm and you have an understanding that you're going to release a version of your software by, let's say, 10, by 8:45, you are done with everything. You have tested all contingencies and make sure everything is working. When the time comes, you are the one waiting for them to come so that you present the software. Now, importance of software engineering. It reduces what? What is complexity? Let me tell you a short story. When I was doing my NYSC in NYSC headquarters, my boss, Mrs. Uchamba, used to go through what do they call it when somebody is trying to move from one state to another? Relocation. The data is in Excel format. It's huge. Now she has to do them one by one, slow, till she reaches the end. And when I reached the headquarters, I started my service. I saw her doing the job. I said, Ma, can I help you with this? She said, yes, sure. I took the data, pushed it into my SQL database, and filtered the data by states, from which state to which states. And then I gave her back in individual Excel sheets. And then I said, Ma, the data is complete. The analysis you wanted to do is complete, so you can have the data. She said, eh? I just give you the data not long ago. I said, yes, Ma. So this thing that used to take me days. I said, yes, Ma. That reduced what for her? Complexity. Imagine those people using typewriter to type certificates. Imagine you have to do that now to be able to issue certificate to all the students that attend this training. How long do you think it will take us? How many people do you think it will take us? How many people? Oh. Imagine typing a certificate for each and every one of those people. What do we do now? We use mailing lists. Mailing lists. How do you think I was able to send you guys, each and every one of you, your email login password and everything? Do you think I was doing it one by one? I use mailing lists. With mailing lists, I just type the data and then I push the list to Microsoft Word. And then I send it to the email. And then it uses Outlook to fetch all the emails and then it sends through Outlook. And that was it. So reduce what? Complexity. When it reduces complexity, it minimizes what? Cost. It minimizes what? Cost. How is the question. All of them. All of them. It decreases what? Time. If a process used to take 10 minutes and you develop a software and it takes 15 minutes to do the same process, you didn't develop software. I don't know if I'm making sense. If your process used to take 10 minutes and then now it takes 15 minutes after you've developed a software for it, chairman, go and skip that thing. It's not a software. The software is supposed to what? Decrease the time. Okay? And then what? Reliable what? Reliable software. Reliability. Okay? Reliability. What does that mean? How many of you have transferred money from your account to other account and it went to another person's account? Exactly. No, I mean, how many times have you done that? You transfer money from one of your accounts to another account of yours. Exactly the same number, the same bank, and then when you transfer, it went to another bank, another account number. Why is that? Reliability. Reliability. To first bank. It didn't go first bank, it went to GT. Or even goes to another account in first bank. It should not go. Unless if you type the wrong account number. But then if you type everything correctly, then it's supposed to go directly to where? That is reliability. That is how reliable the system is. You at the back of your mind, you know that you're transferring to what? To your own account. That is why when I send money from First Bank to my OP, and then I don't see the immediately, I'm like, First Bank, what's up now? I know OP is fast. Huh? And then effectiveness. Now, I'll be sending these slides to you guys. You read on the complexity, the minimize costs, handling big projects, reliability, and effectiveness. It's not a fight. Just because you see verses doesn't mean it's a fight. Computer science is concerned with what? The field involves the understanding and application of both what? Abstract and what? Software engineering is a field largely concerned with what? To create, maintain, design software. For what? Now, you are developing software for different purposes. Now, that doesn't mean that just because the software exists, you cannot develop the software and make money from it. Now, let me give you a simple case scenario. All of you here have GT, First Bank, okay, this, that, those, everything. Now, you ask yourself, the banking sector is filled with all apps. Where can I even go and what can I even do in the banking industry, right? What if you develop an app that combines all your accounts into one app? From different banks, using one app, the money will all be within the app. Let's assume you have 5,000 here, you have 3,000 here, you have 7,000 here. Are you want to transfer 10,000 to another bank? You don't have to worry about going to all the banks and transferring the money to one account, then transfer. You can just transfer straight up. What if we have that? Now you see an opening. But before you're not thinking about it, were you? No. So the same way you don't, Let me tell you. Let me tell you, guys. Let me tell you something, guys. Network is slow. Okay. Let me tell you something, guys. As a software engineer, your best friend is problem. Yes. As a software engineer, your best friend is problem. Because any problem you see is an opportunity to solve. Any problem you see whatsoever, it's an opportunity to what? To solve, to develop a solution. Hmm? Like what? Hmm. Let me ask you a question. How many times you have children, right? So primary school, secondary school, university, which of the grades? Primary and secondary. How many times have you received a text message at the end of the term with the result of your son or your daughter and the next term school fees? No, they're separately or together. It doesn't matter. How many times have you received that? Hmm? You haven't received that. So, how many times have you received a message from the school, not on WhatsApp, a message from the school saying that your child is not doing well in one of the subjects, or your child is doing very well in this subject? Encourage the child to do more. Now, if you develop a solution, if you develop a solution for that, and then you go to primary school A, they said we don't want. You go to primary school B, they say, we'll call you back. You go to primary school C, by the time you reach D or F, you will get one that will subscribe to it. This is my software. Let me give you another case scenario. How many of you have been, okay, I've seen this in Casina, where parents can log into the school camera system and see their child. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Now, most parents are worried that my child, I don't know what is going on. Oh, this is their teacher. I don't know what they're doing to this my child. You can log into the school camera and see your child. You can scroll back to see what happened before. Everything. Yes. Uh-uh. Madam. I am from Casina. I'm from Casina. So now the question is, how many secondary schools in Abuja does that? So now is this an opportunity? It's a problem. So now it's a problem that becomes what? An opportunity for you to what? To solve and then make money out of it. Okay, let's move on, please. System engineer versus software engineer versus system engineering. System engineering is concerned with all aspects of computer-based system development, including what? Hardware, software, and what? What is process engineering? Nope. Process engineering. Hmm? Process engineering. Now, people do things. Okay, let's take Nigeria as our case study, and we want to system engineer Nigeria. How do we do that? Which aspect of, let's take governance, for instance. What is the current process of fixing a pothole in my village. What is the process? These are the chairman of my local government have to be passing by, and then his car enter the pothole, and then that is when he will know that there's a pothole there for him to write or for him to just send more people to come and fix. How does it work? Now, let's assume we want to engineer a process of fixing broken potholes, fixing poor lighting. Let's assume we want to fix that process. We create a complaint system. On the complaint system, artisans can apply to that particular system. General public can apply to that particular system. Whereby you that is passing, you don't even have car, you're passing, you see pothole. Say, hey, bad governance. You take your phone, you snap it, you post it to the platform that bad governance, this location, you locate the place. This location, pothole, Siam. There and then, artisan will see it and say, this thing requires 3 bags of cement, 3 bags of this, 3 bags of granite, this, that. There and then, government will see it and request for people to submit their what do you call it, invoices and quotations. The chairman doesn't even have to go to the place. Send somebody to seek for approval, confirmation, to confirm that, hey, this thing is genuine. Let the village head or let the councillor go and confirm that pothole. This pothole has killed almost 7 people already. We have such kind of potholes in Nigeria. It has broken almost 50 tires. That is economic wahala for us, the citizens. So now, the whole process will be looked into, engineered, such that everything will be done on a certain system, or using a certain process. That way, things will work smoother than it is currently. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if it makes sense. Someone is saying online that more like anything good cannot come from Katsina or something like that. Actually, most of the things you read on newspapers, believe you me, it's real, but it's not. No. When I was in Malaysia, when I heard of the Chibok incident, I was like, and they said from Chibok to Borno is not up to 10 hours. Then why didn't the military do something about it? And I kept thinking of different things. But then, the way we hear things is not the way things are. Back when Kaduna Abuja Expressway was the dens of God knows what, people were not able to travel because of that. And funny enough, I traveled that road every blessed day, practically. Because I travel to Katsina, I come to Abuja, I go back to Katsina. Sometimes I leave Katsina around 5 in the evening. I reach Abuja around 1 in the night. So the things you read, they are real. But people are still living there. So just because you hear Katsina bandit, A, bandit, A, bandit, B, bandit, doesn't mean that there are no people living in Katsina. There are people living in Katsina. How will you know that there are people living there when election comes? And the case start behaving. I mean, is it 3 cases, go? Is it 3 or how many cases? No, it's not 3. No, it's not 3. Kebi. Kebi is not part of the case. I think Kebi is a state, go? It's 3 cases. That is when you know. That is when you know that there are more people there. System engineers are involved in system specification, system architecture, architectural design, integration, and deployment. Software engineering is part of the process concerned with development and developing the software infrastructure, control, application, and database in the system. Okay? System engineering is older than software engineering, as the percentage of software systems, as the percentage of software systems has increased, software engineering techniques are finding their way into what? Into what? System engineering. Now, where can you work? Hmm? Where can you work? Hmm? Fintech, field tech. Yep. He's Nupe. Financial technology, I think that is it, called? Fintech. Where else? IT consultancy. IT consult. Look, as a software engineer, you can work in practically any facet of job openings. Because one of the things that my lecturer always tells me back then was that as a software engineer, you have to know at least something out of everything. You have to know at least something out of everything. In the event you are hired to do something in that particular place, then you know what to do and how to do it. Okay? You can work in financial services, you can work in manufacturing industries, you can work in where? Public utilities, power supply, and so on and so forth. Anywhere that software is needed, you are what? That is it. Have you seen any bank that doesn't have accountants? Any company that doesn't have accountants? Unless if it's a one-person this thing. Software engineering job descriptions. Software engineers are responsible for the list below, unless user requirements. Testing codes, refining, and writing if necessary. Researching and designing new software programs. Developing existing programs by analyzing and identifying area of modification. Okay? Integrating existing software products and getting incompatible platforms to work with each other. You go to a firm that are using PHP as their core programming language, and you don't work with PHP. Your firm doesn't work with PHP. You work with Java. You need to be able to work with each other. How do you do that? Nope. Nope. You can tell the PHP guys to develop APIs for you that you can consume their data and work with it. Yes. Yes. No. Yes. So, in a simple explanation, imagine you have a team. Let's assume base here are using PHP, and FMC here they are using Java. And base want to be able to, FMC wants to be able to pool the list of students that are studying medicine and medical related courses. So that doesn't mean that base have to write Java application for them. No. All base needs to do is to develop an API that FMC can consume. That way they can be able to communicate with each other. That is it. So they can use that too. There are many ways you can do it. Okay? Hmm? Who is the owner of the data? who owns data is the person that is supposed to do the API. Do you know why? So let's assume FMC, they have their software package. Base have their software package. FMC decides to hire a third-party programmer, right? That's what you're asking. Now, who is supposed to develop the APIs? It's Base. Because Base is the one that knows database structure. FMC cannot develop the API because they don't have the data. And even if they have the data, they don't have all the connection strings and all the other components that comes with API integration. So Base is the one that will develop the API application, and then they will pass all the necessary keys, because APIs come with keys, so that nobody that is not authorized to, yes. Okay? So it's the responsibility of Base to develop the APIs for FMC. Let me give you another example. How many of you guys know Remita? Remita. Now imagine I want to develop an app, and then I go to Remita and say, give me access to your database. I want to develop an app. Do you think they'll take me seriously? I'm asking them to give me confidential data. They will not take me seriously. Rather, they said, okay, since different people will be developing in different languages, we will develop an API, and then everybody can consume from that API. So right now, you can integrate with Java, you can integrate with PHP, you can integrate with .NET C#, you can anything. You can, yes. Even they're giving out like Chin. But then, if you are giving out your house address, do you give them the house key? Ah. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Even if you give them the house key, will you give them your main entrance key? No, you don't. Sometimes the firms you work with, they have their main database, and then they have backup database, and then they have database that is interfacing with the outside world. And data is sent based on what is needed to be there. Not everything, if you are kind of a programmer that gives access to everything on your own, somebody will come to your house and chop chin chin. Now, software engineering job description continues. So you can have a lot of job descriptions for software engineers. You can have consultancy, consulting clients, investigating new technologies. That is another part of software engineering. Even advertising the products. Now, software engineering job opportunities continue. Now, answer them. But that's okay. Hmm? Don't worry, madam. I will be sending this slide to the group. Okay? So now, the next thing is thank you. As I said, this was during Corona when I wrote this. Wash your hand regularly. Do not touch your face. Protect yourself from coronavirus. See you next week. Okay? So this is chapter 1. We are going to cruise on chapter 2. I just pray that and we'll do what we can, and then we'll continue. Eh? Now it can be o'clock. Okay. Let's stretch our hands and legs and then let's continue. I'll give you guys three minutes to do that. If you have questions, please ask, or you can write them down at the end of the class we discuss. I was watching a video online. The pastor was saying if anybody has anything to say, should say it now, forever hold his peace. Now one cow from one side just have more. This PowerPoint too. Nope, I use templates. Then the caption says, God has a way of showing you problems on time. Okay. Are we continuing? Okay, let's move on. Online people, I hope I'm not leaving you guys behind. Hmm? No practical, ba? This one is not, the slides are not much actually. All right, so at the end of this class, students should be able to do what? Should be able to do what? Okay. Okay, so we'll be talking about what is software systems, what is design in software systems, what is development, what is testing, and so on and so forth. Okay. Design is a process of transforming user requirements into some suitable form, which helps the programmer in software coding and implementation. I think this is supposed to be chapter 1. Okay, no, let's continue. For accessing user requirement, an SRS, which is what? Software requirement specification document is created, whereas for code implementation, there is a need for more specific and detailed requirement in software terms. The output of this process can directly be used into implementation in programming languages. Software design is the first step in software development lifecycle. Really? Okay. So software design, SDLC, software design lifecycle, which moves the concentration from problem domain to solution domain. Now, in software development lifecycle, design is the first step that moves the team from problem domain to what? To solution. The remaining previous items are what? The problem domain. Okay? We'll talk about them. I think they're including things like analysis, requirement gathering, and so on and so forth. In fact, we'll talk about things like requirement gathering techniques. How do you gather requirements? We'll talk about all those in the future. Software design is the first step. Okay, we move forward. Development, also referred to as coding or coding phase. Well, in this stage, practically we just code. Oh? Practically, we code the solution. We code the design into a solution, and then we move to testing. And testing requires us to test. There is a video of Mr. Beans testing the bed. I don't know if you've seen that video. You've seen it, but I show you the video. Testing bed. You've seen it. Okay. Development life cycle, software development life cycle, SDLC for short. It's a well-defined structured sequence of stages in engineering to develop the intended software product. Software development lifecycle provides a series of steps to be followed to design and develop a software product efficiently. Software development lifecycle include the following steps. The first one is what? Communication. Then comes what? Requirement. Then comes what? Followed by analysis. Then design. After design is what? Then what? And then the last item is what? Evolution. Now, the first step is communication. Now, this is the first step where the user initiates the request for a desired software product. Usually, the user initiates the request for the software, okay, to be made. That is why most of the software packages we have are custom to those particular companies that needs them. But then we start to have more generic software that solves general problems, okay? Whereby the initiators are not actually users. Like, can you give me an example of that kind of software? The initiators are not users. There are many of them. Some of them that are largest in the world, man. How many of you have watched the story of how Facebook came to be? Facebook. How did it come to be? Did anybody come and tell Mark Zuckerberg that come and develop Facebook for us? Yeah, but did anybody met them and said develop this software for us, we pay you? No. But who initiated the first step? Because this is what we say communication is the first step. That somebody will come and what? Communicate with you that they need a software for this item to be developed. But some software is not like that. Some software, people develop them and then they metamorphose into something else. Facebook was developed for just some friends to be able to communicate. And then it kept. Before Facebook, what did we have? We had Yahoo Messenger, yes. We have High Five. We had Tagged. Yeah, when I was still. Most Nigerians, their first IT experience was to go. I never used to go. I never used it. I used Yahoo Messenger. Then I used Tagged. I used High Five when we used to go to. Back then, for you to even load a picture, hey, almost see danger. If you even reach the two. And frustrating part is when you're downloading a picture, maybe let's say a picture of about 15 20 kilobytes. It will, that Windows, this way it will be carrying something from here and drop it there, and then it will show 99% to stop. Now, the user contacts the service provider and tries to negotiate the terms. Submit the request to the service provider. The service provider organization is in what? In writing. So if right now, Federal Road Safety Corps wants an IT firm to develop a software for them, they will meet the people and say, we want, or they will advertise and say, we want a software that will be able to work with a hardware to detect if a person plate number has paid all their necessary dues. They don't need to be on the road with all the sunlight and all the UV rays hitting them like grass. No, like grass. Chicken actually find shades. Grass is the one that, if whether they like it or not, they will still be there. So now the Federal Safety Corps and what was the other one? And VIO wants a firm to develop a software with a certain hardware to be able to detect and automatically deduct if there is money in the account, the person's account. We can do it actually. Directly, you beat traffic lights. They will send your photo to your email and deduct the fine. Nigeria will be rich. Oh. All these taxi drivers that are hitting. I know. Does it work? Now, 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 what am I trying to say? Yeah, but then have you seen this? You are saying this is Nigeria, is not China. Have you seen those round things they used to put where they say Nigeria and China for a greater future together or something like that? Hmm. Now, the first thing is communication. Okay, one of the parties open a channel of communication with the firm, and then they decide we want a software that can do this. If you don't have the technical know-how or the team to do it, you gracefully decline. It's allowed to gracefully decline an offer because there is something called IT law where you'll be sued for missing a release. If you are supposed to deliver something and you don't deliver it, you meet them in court. Okay? Then requirements. What is requirements? Hmm? What is requirements? Cost? That's not requirements. Mapping out the things that needs to be done in the software. Somebody tells you, I have some huge amount of money stored in my vault, and I want you to develop a software for me that will not allow me to die. And then you say, sir, and this software that you want me to make for you, is it imaginary or is physical or spiritual? If it's spiritual, for how long? It's, it's a legal binding. So 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 you have to look at it from a lot of perspective. Okay. Now, in requirements, there are different type of requirements, such as functional and non-functional requirements. Now, what are functional and non-functional requirements, if we may? I usually tell I usually tell my students this example. If you want to travel with a car, what are the functional requirements? What are the things you must have? Fuel, tires, brakes, engine, the car itself. What else? Road. They're all functional requirements. What else? Not really. What else? What about non-functional requirements? Radio, AC, side mirror, light, wiper. That is if it's falling. If it's not falling,
But it's possible.
even if it's falling, even if rain is falling, you can park. It's not functional requirement. If I'm traveling with a car that doesn't have wiper, if rain start, I'll park gingerly. Carry my phone, play Candy Crush. Are you? Okay. Now, under requirements, there are things like requirement gathering techniques. How do you gather requirements? Brainstorming is one of them. Any other one? In research, interview, written and oral, questionnaires. They're all requirement gathering techniques. Okay? What documents are you expect to have at the end of requirements? Software requirement document. Okay? Now, what is feasibility studies? Mm. Feasibility, feasibility studies deals with more. It's more like feasibility studies is more like can we be able to do this software with the resources we have? So now, if you look at that, you can break that into multiple subsections, like technical feasibility. Like that is technical feasibility, like financial feasibility. There are so many of them under that. So you have like financial. Oh, I can't remember this. Even the team that are going to do the work. Do you have the team? It's a feasibility. You have to assess it. Now you look at it against how much they are paying. Can you do the software? Can you do the software with that amount? If it's feasible, then go ahead with the project. If it's feasible, then you go into what? Analysis. Analysis is you take the requirement, you look at it, and then you break it down into smaller chunks. And then you itemize them, and then you look at all the interviews you've done. Maybe the person said something that is not clear, is ambiguous. You call and you ask for detailed explanation of that particular item because there is no ambiguity in software. There is no what? Ambiguity in software. So in this analysis is the part where you do all those, you look at all the requirements, functional and non-functional, you look at each and every item, itemize them, bring them out, explain them, and then after that, you go for what? Design. Now, till this point, we're still talking about the problems. Now, design, we start to talk about what? Solution. Who do what? When? How? You are developing a software. At what point should that software transfer money from her account to my account? No, you cannot be from my account to my account is empty. Okay. So design at this stage is when we start to look at the functionality of the system, the solution itself. Now, I used to tell my students, I used to give my students this example. Imagine somebody writes a house in a novel of 12 pages. He's just describing one house for good 12 pages. You think it's not possible? It's very possible. If you have never been to Mederibe's house in Borno, but from what I have heard, it's to die for. that the house is made, some part is made of gold, some part is this, some part is that. The house had staircases, it has another staircase elsewhere, it has another staircase. It's just too fine. The place where he sits down, it has water flowing under it, this, that, 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 that. And the person is writing it as an explanation. And then you have another one that is drawing it like a diagram. Now, you are given 2 minutes to understand the two. Which one will be faster? Why? And that is the reason why we analyze and then we change that analysis to what? To design. And that is why I said you should not confuse user interface design and system design. They are two different things. Okay? This is what? System design. Now, there are design notations you can use, such as UML, to design your software. Under design, you have things like flowchart, you have things like sequence diagram, you have things like activity diagram, you have things like use case diagram, like this one, like use case diagram. You have things like, which other one? Data flow diagram. You have things like entity relationship diagram, ERD. I showed you guys in my SQL, right? ERD. So that is another type of diagram. So there are many types of diagrams you can make. Now, it's easier for the person to look at the diagram, look at relationships, and understand than to go and start reading 12 pages of something just to understand. And believe me, the way you read and understand something might be totally different from the way someone else will read and understand it. While even trying to read it, somebody might read centimeter and then maybe have read about 12 pages and then some of the data have moved meter and square meter and then you forget is this centimeter and then you have to go back and look at why it says So that is the reason why we convert analysis, which is the written part, to what? To design. So that the programmer can easily look at it, one shot, understand what is needed. Okay? All right. Then after that, we have the implementation. Okay? Now, what is implementation? This is when we convert the design to code. Okay? We convert design to what? To codes. I don't know if I'm clear. Now, there are different types of programming languages. Under those programming languages, there are many types of frameworks. Under those frameworks, there are different methods of implementing them. So now that is left for you to go and learn. Testing. MC, testing 1, 2, testing 1, 1, 2. Now, what is system testing? And why do we need to test a software? To confirm that it runs everywhere. Yes? To detect errors. If we detect the errors, what do we do next? We fix the errors. Why else? Now, we have different type of testing. Do you know them? Unit testing. Integration testing. Quality assurance testing. Integrity. This is very slow. My time has finished. And give me 20 minutes. Give me 10 to 15 minutes. I'll finish up. Which other testing? At what point? At what point? Functionality. At what point should you test for security of your software? Eh, you have different testing under security too. Pen testing and so on and so forth. God knows. So after testing is what? Evolution. Yeah. Yes. So before you write the code, you have to write the test cases. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to do the testing then. It's like saying you want to start breastfeeding a child before you even born them. Auntie, which kind of life now? No. You can't feed a child that is not there. So but you can start buying pampers, you can start buying the crèche where you put the child, all those things. You can start buying them, right? Even the baby clothes, the things you take to hospital for maternity, and so on and so forth. You can buy all those things and keep, right? When the baby comes, then what? Even if in the bottle you can buy and keep. When the baby comes, that is when you start to use them. That doesn't mean that you know that you have to start using there and then even before the baby comes. No. So the document you are writing is against when you finish developing software, and then you want to test. So that the people that will be doing the test, they know what they'll be testing for. I don't know if you understand. Even the programmer will need to test before releasing the software for what? Production. Okay? So testing has a very huge role in software development, because if a software is not well tested, wahala go dey. Wahala go what? E go dey. You go dey like what? Like chin chin for market. Because if madam, I pour another chips now for big people. Okay? So testing allows you to do a lot of things to be able to know the limitations and then fix those limitations before anything serious happens. Now, can you finish testing a software completely without any issue? No. Some companies actually hire hackers to come and hack their software. Yes. No. They bring in the best hackers in the world and give them their software and say, crack it, let's see. And they pay them in millions. So even to be a thief, if you know how to do it well, they'll pay you. They hire people that will come and what? Crack their software. And then they'll pay them to do it. Why do they pay them? They're not testing, they're cracking, they are trying to hack the software. Let me give you a simple example. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine a drone that carries military payloads. I don't want to call kaboom. Let's say military payloads. Imagine if it can easily be hacked. What do you think will happen? So now, what that will translate to is, let's assume it's somewhere along the no-go areas. I don't know if you know the no-go areas. Okay, let's take for instance an example. Okay, one of the U.S. military base, one of their drones get hacked, and then it's flown from the military base to Russia and dropped the bomb there. What do you think will happen? Three. Now, the military need to be able to make sure that it is next to impossible to hack their drones. So now, if you are one of the best hackers, you might be in the US prison, but they will still bring you out to come and hack their software and take you back to prison, and they'll pay you. That is a simple case scenario. Imagine, how many of you guys have been to a site with HTTPS? HTTPS. Yeah, the secured version of HTTP. How many of you have been to a site with that? How do you think those people were able to implement HTTPS all over the globe? Which encryption technology are they using to encrypt your data so that nobody can hack it? I know before the SSL they come out now. It has to be tested and retested and make sure that to crack it, head will catch fire. Otherwise, all your WhatsApp messages, some of us ladies and gentlemen that used to send funny videos, you do, is this silhouette challenge? So, let me talk up. Okay. And then you have the evolution. Okay. And thank you. Now, any question? Online people are still at driver, engine oil. All right, any questions, guys? Any question? Yeah, shoot. Guys, he's asking which programming language am I going to teach you guys, right? I'm not teaching you guys programming language now. They have already taught you guys programming language. Python now, Django. Do you need more? It's introduction. I don't understand. Hey, you go and watch the tutorial. Have you given you guys tests? Have you written exams on it? Django, Python. And now. And then I teach now my SQL, Abi. Guys, yes, yes. Guys, listen, please. Listen, one house. You said software documentation. That is above the kiniko of this course. No, it's true. Because we have how many weeks? 3 weeks, 2 hours in a week. Now, to even write documentation, to even start to talk about documentation itself and the rules and regulations, getting documentation alone will take us at least 2 weeks. So how many weeks do you have to do the testing itself? To do the introduction to software engineering? Like it says, the course is introduction. We're just introducing you. Now it's left for you to go and do the what? My SQL was introduction. MySQL was an introduction. I don't understand. So the idea is that if I'm able to teach you how to create a table, you know how to create your table, you know how to add data into a table, you'll be able to create your database, you know relationships, then the rest you can do on your own. Madam, Madam, what you're asking me to do for you right now is, you want me to go and catch the fish, and then I will barbecue it, sauce, do everything, marinate, and make it, you know. And then after I finish all those, now you ask me to teach her to eat it. Madam, how can I teach her to eat fish? The next, after this, that is Cornerstone Project. Cornerstone Project. Yeah. You are doing the project, not me. Freestyle is you're doing your own yourself. All right, somebody is asking. Django is using is using SQLite. Can you use my SQL? The answer is yes. You can. Someone is asking online that Django that was taught was using SQLite. Can he use my SQL? The answer is yes. I think you can use my SQL, you can use PostgreSQL, and I think, yeah, I think those two will work fine. By God's grace. But then there are many object relation mappers that you can use to connect to different type of databases. I think you guys use Alchemy. Do you use Alchemy? Alchemy for the this thing, for the Alchemy. How did you connect to the? Did you connect to the database? Well, then, it's not my job now. Okay. Come again? Yeah, we're doing question and answers. And online people are still asking questions. Yes. I'll tell you when the time comes. Practically, you're going to develop an application that solves practically a problem around your area, a unique problem around your area. And if I say my give you project now, somebody will complain and say, this way give you don't do. I know the idea is it has to be able to connect to a database, and it has to be able to have enough data in it, and it has to be able to give out some sort of analysis of that data. So you're going to have a dashboard, you're going to have input fields, and so on and so forth. You think so? Am I with a one chop here? No, we have a month to do that. We have 3 weeks, 4 weeks to do that. When will I rest? I had an interview recently when all right. Guys, this is what you fail to understand. The person that taught you Django introduced you to what? To Django. Go back home, climb YouTube, buy data of 3 gig, download videos. Don't stream it. Download videos specific to what you want to learn. And then you use your time when the children have slept. And didn't I do that? I thought I talked about this in this class, how you're going to learn programming. It's one of the things I talked about. I said find YouTube videos that last more than 10 minutes. And now that is it. Look for code operation. Crude. Look for to do app. Whatever you want, any programming language you want to learn, start with to do app. Because the reason why is I'm always asking people to start with to do it because in to do, you will create recording to the database, you will updates, you will words. What operations in Python? Django. Yeah, plenty. CRUDE as a quick word. Any other question, guys? Sure. What? Modding? I don't understand the question myself. I don't know. Modding. I don't know. Really, I don't. But I'll check and I'll investigate and I'll get back to you on that. Like cracked? Let's assume you have Microsoft Office. And that is cracked now. Okay. Any other question, guys? All right. In terms of questions, thank you very much and my best regards. With what? Right. This is a full night. And I have to go to office in the morning. Around 8. I said, but I sleep to rest. Look, the best teacher is yourself. Just have that in the back of your mind. The best teacher is who? Yourself. Any other teacher is a candidate. Yes. in English. Since I'm done.